Alright, we're on. Good morning, gentles and ladies, men. Listen. I have been hard at work on something. It may not be what you expect. So, a friend of mine came up to me, and they were asking me about 3D modeling. They asked me to take a look at their new 3D model. And it was just all sorts of messed up. And this is just even keeping in mind the fact that this is made for Blender animation. And I can tell that the original artist made the model for Blender animation / source filmmaker animations, and then they converted down to a VRM model for their VRM, as well as their VSF avatar files. However, this person had paid about it was something like $1,100, between that and $1,500. And what they had gotten was what I would say is about $300 to $400 worth of work, grand total, after everything. Basically, the only things that were usable were some of the blend shapes and the, like the foot bones and stuff. I have to completely re-rig this model from scratch. However, I did work with the skeleton to make it work in Unity as a VRM. I did fix up the existing blend shapes. However, this does not change the fact that in order for me to set up her avatar properly, I have to, one, triangulate the entirety of her face, and two, I also have to completely redo her blend shapes, just from scratch, because I'm going to have to edit the geometry around the face because she is missing a loop around her lips that will give her the deformation she needs. It has not been an easy journey. However, for the price of $1,500, you should not be using 4K textures and having mip-mapping issues. You should not be having titty popping issues. You should not be having issues where things just do not work straight out. The rig, as it was, just straight up did not work at all. I had to re-weight paint the model and dissolve out a few of the bones to make the model work in the first place. And her sleeves, I have to completely remake from scratch. And the gold adornments are basically just scribbles from a 2-year-old. So I have to remake the texture for that. However, as I showed them, I have a much better way to do it, which will bring a much better quality to it. Because these horns, the adornments on them do not actually deform. The only thing they do is follow along with the head on top of the horns in place. We can have as wonky a geometry as we want for these adornments, so long as they fit. You see where I'm going here? So these are flat textured currently. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be using booleans to engrave the texture into the horns, because you can see that level of detail. It needs to be there. So I'm going to use booleans to actually engrave the texture into the model. And it's going to look a bajillion times better, especially after we retexture and re-unwrap these horns and we separate them from the main clothing texture. It's not going to take a lot of time, but it's not a 5-minute fix. I will say, however, that 90% of the issues that I fixed with this model could have all been done individually. 5 minutes per fix. 5 minutes per fix. I had the model like 90% fixed in the first 2 hours of working in it. It shows you, it just tells you how many fucking issues there were. I do have her up and running. I'm not going to show the model because of I don't want to do spoilers, but I'm going to tell you to tune in to just Sasha for, I think it's Tuesday that she says she's going to be using it. We should have, at the very minimum, the basic version of her model up and running. There are certain toggles that I don't have working. I will say, however, that the original artist did do a great job with the titty slider. They just forgot to make blend shapes for the modest size slider, which was supposed to be there. So what I did was I did that. I also ended up having to modify the blend shape clips of a lot of these blend shapes. I had to make edits to all the AR kit blend shapes because there were parts where, like some of the polygons for the mouth were like halfway through to the back side of the head. It did not work, and I suspect that it's because they used bones to set up the deformation of these blend shapes, which is an okay workflow, but they forgot to proofread, and it just led to an amalgamation of fixes and fixes and fixes. And between the last few days, I think I put in, I want to say 26 hours of work on the model. Yeah, I have literally been working from like the second that I wake up to the second I go to sleep on on this model, just to get the base version working. It has not been a small grind. There's so much wrong with it. There's still a lot that I have to do. Like the original rig is intended for animating in Blender, so I actually have to, in order to make things work, I have to delete all the skeleton except for what is bound to the head, and I have to re-rig this skeleton from scratch. I then have to separate some pieces of the model onto separate materials, re-unwrap them, change the size of their UV unwraps so that they have a better level of detail. And then I have to also send that over, and then Sasha is going to send that over to an artist who is going to remaster the textures so that they are much more properly covered in 4K. This is also going to be going on YouTube. It's going to be my video for the day. I haven't been able to have a video out in 2 days because this is something that is extremely important. I think Sasha's been strung on about this model for like 6, 7, 8, 9 months now, and Cummingham just never fucking did much to fix it. There's so much that I was talking with Sasha about, so much I showed her how to do. I literally like sat there for the first day showing her in Blender how to fix each and every issue. And I'm pretty sure she's about as pissed as I am, because it's literally just every issue that I had showed her that day was literally like 5 to 10 minute fixes. Some of them were like 2-minute fixes. Literally just move this vert here. Literally just lazy work. They never bothered to fix over half the model. And the reason I have to remake the sleeves is because the basic model for the sleeves is just flat polygons. It's not actually using the same level of detail as the shoulder, not as the shoulder, as the arm. So when the elbow deforms, the sleeves mesh does not deform with the same level of detail as the elbow. So you get the arm clipping through the sleeves. And I was wondering why, like I was exporting into Unity, fiddling around with things, moving bones around, and still getting issues. And I went into Blender, and I just looked at the mesh for the arms, I looked at the mesh for the sleeves, and I was just like, holy shit, what the hell is this? So, I have to fix the sleeves. There's an entire separate outfit. There's, like, I've only got her basic, like, classic outfit, so to say, working. But even then, I don't have the sleeves for that working because I have to completely remake the sleeves. And the sleeves are going to go on their own separate material. I'm going to send that off on its own separate material so that Sasha can actually properly have sleeves that are properly textured. I will also say that I have been messing around with the dynamic bones in Unity because she was complaining about how, like, before her sleeves did not have physics whatsoever. It took me about 2 minutes to make it so that the sleeves had cloth-like physics using dynamic bones. It didn't take long at all. It's seriously just a neglect of the work. This person, in my opinion, stole about $600, $700 from Sasha and her community, and just ran with the money. And basically, no matter how much she pointed out problems, things that needed to be fixed, never fucking did the work. Just would export a new model with one thing fixed so that he can say that he did the work. And yes, Cummingham, I'm calling you out. Because I should not have to do this. But I'm going to. Just to fucking spite you. Now, for today, we're going to be playing Borderlands 1. I hope to see all of you YouTube people later. You can tune in. I'll see you in a little bit. Bye-bye!